Thank you for joining us for the Cultivate OKC podcast. This podcast is a product of the Cultivate Venture Accelerator. The accelerator was created to equip entrepreneurs, for-profit and nonprofit, to build redemptive cultures in their community, to move founders from being the owners of their ventures to the stewards, because we want to see Oklahoma City become a place where everyone is flourishing, every industry, every culture, and every neighborhood, because we are committed to the whole person, reaching their whole potential to care for the whole city. Let's jump in. My name is Tracy Zerdin, and I am part of the Cultivate team. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. I'm a co-founder of a SaaS platform that processes sponsorship requests for small to mid-sized businesses called Made Possible By. But when I was asked to join the Cultivate team, I was pumped and I jumped on it because I am always excited to work with people who want to make a difference and not just make a buck. And joining me today is part of our team is Natanya Rinke. She is the Director of Operations for Cultivate. She's also a tech genius. She can make technology dance. She just has the magic things. She is a newlywed, and you're a new pickleball enthusiast, right? You just started pickleball?
Very new. Yep. Our apartment complex has a pickleball court in it. And so it's become a favorite pastime of ours. I'm not very good. My husband beats me every single time, but it's fun.
Well, Natanya beats me every time that we play. So you're better than me. So Brady's just off the charts. He's tall and he has long arms and legs.
Yeah, he takes 3 strides and he's across the court.
He could be anywhere. Us short-legged people, we have to hustle a little bit more for that.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, that's so great. Well, our guest today is Mr. Jerad Lovett. Jerad is an executive who is energized by great collaboration and really big thinking. His SaaS platform called NextMuv is revolutionizing the moving industry. NextMuv is designed to fix the current terrible model of brokerages, that's a big word, brokerages in the moving industry. Those said brokerages take 50% of the revenue and add very little value. He is creating an entire paradigm shift within the industry that is known for shady practices, and he's going to share some of those, which kind of blew my mind when I first heard about them. Jerad is a third generation mover who's also handled several acquisitions. He and his wife Brooklyn have 3 kiddos, which you may or may not hear in the background at some point today because it's fall break in 2022 in Oklahoma. Their kiddos' names are Arrow, Lane, and Julianne. And Jerad, tell us a little bit about Julianne because you've recently discovered that she has perfect pitch. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we encourage our kids to try every aspect of life, including musical stuff. So she did start violin like 6 years ago. She's 12 now. And I never really paid attention. I just let her do her thing. Then all of a sudden she started picking up another instrument and then another instrument and then another instrument. So she's now to the point where she's writing music, composing music. She's writing other pieces of music so her friends can play with her different instruments and they can harmonize together. And she's now in honors choir and honors orchestra for the state in middle school. And I don't know. I'm just trying to give her every opportunity she can so I don't hold her back.
Wow, that is so impressive. So how many instruments is she up to now?
Well, I guess she can sit down and play 6 for sure. But that's probably because she's only found 6.
Take her to the music store and let her just go around.
Yes, we do. She can pretty much anything with strings. She just pick up and start playing.
Wow, that's so impressive. And then you found out that you knew she was smart because she's had straight A's forever, but then you found out that she has never opened one of her school books because she didn't know how to access them online. So she's had straight A's without even cracking a book.
Yep. And we just had student parent conference meeting with the teachers. And they said that she'd finish her work real quickly, and then she'd go around the room and help other students too.
Oh my
You
gosh.
didn't realize that.
Nice. What a sweet thing. What a sweet thing. She's talented and kind. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Must have got it from my wife, I guess.
You're pretty sweet, Jerad. So tell us, Jerad, something unique about you or something that made you smile this week.
Well, I do enjoy working at home. That makes me smile to be around my family, to see them. Not that I don't enjoy coworkers, but when I get up from my desk and walk around, I get to see my family.
Mm-hmm.
I get to hang out with them. I get to go outside and take a 5-10 minute break and, play catch or go talk to my daughter or go on a walk. My daughter always likes going on walks, and she just talks and talks. And so I really enjoy the opportunity to be with family and not be stuck in my car and commutes and not be stuck at the office whenever I have downtime. And it's really enjoyable, really blessed, a big blessing to be able to do that.
It sure is. Those couple minute breaks in between things, they're good for your head, they're good for clarity, and then you get to connect with the people that matter most.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right. Sure. So Arrow's playing football, right? So you're out there throwing the ball with Arrow?
Yeah, Arrow and Lane both.
Okay.
I can actually watch them right now playing catch together.
Nice. It's nice to have a buddy that they can. Are they pretty compatible to build skills wise, that they don't get frustrated with one another?
They are. Yes. Arrow's pretty quick. Lane's a little bit bigger and tougher, so they have different skill sets, but they are very good buddies. They can get a little bit competitive sometimes against each other, but that's healthy. So
they're brothers. That's what they do, right?
Right.
That's great.
Well, we are going to start talking about your venture now. So tell us a little bit more about NextMuv, what you guys do. Tracy kind of gave a little outline, but just go a little bit more in depth about what sets you guys apart, because that's kind of the basis of NextMuv too, is just being different. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. I guess I'll start of why we even did it. I've been in the moving industry for 30 years. I started whenever I was 12. It's because of family business, always on site, clocking in at any time I could, get out there and make a little bit of money. But then as I started getting more involved in the moving business, the relocation business, then I started watching all of the problems in the industry, and I just got frustrated with it, that it seemed people were being taken advantage of, and it seemed movers were being taken advantage of. And I didn't like it. So I actually, about 18 years ago, I worked together with another software company to white paper out a solution to this. And that was, before tech had advanced nearly this far. So we did have to do a bunch of heavy lifting to get there. That was kind of sidelined just because it was expensive. I couldn't find people with enough vision to invest in something like that. But I kept watching the industry, and I watched big, giant companies come in and try to fix it. But the way they tried to fix it is to take advantage from their own perspective. And that's not the way to fix it. The way to fix anything is to create value for everybody that's involved, everything that's involved. Also, every shareholder, because you can even throw the environment in there if you want. But every shareholder gets value from a system, from a process, from a company, then that's your flywheel. You don't have to find your flywheel. You don't have to create a flywheel. You don't have to figure out how to make it spin. If you're creating value for everybody, it spins by itself because they want it to succeed. So I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I was finally kind of providentially called away from my family business about 18 months ago. And I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had handed this idea, the NextMuv idea, to a couple friends previously. And I said, this is a good idea. It has to happen for the industry. This industry keeps getting worse and worse for the customers and for the movers. Because like you said, Tracy, there's so many brokers in between that it needs to happen. And I just handed it to them. I said, you guys go for it. If you have any questions, just ask me. And so I reached back out to them whenever I left the family business. And they had been doing a pretty good job. So I said, well, okay, let me jump in and help you guys. You guys are on the right path. And what we had created, and I'll say we, because I handed them the idea, but I guess they actually put it together. So I'll give them the credit, is a systematic way to link the customers directly to the mover that's best fit to do their move. And that means the mover best fit to do the move is a combination of compliance, because when people move, they go across different jurisdictions that have different regulations, different laws, different taxes, all kinds of random things. It means a mover that has the best quality available, and it means the mover with the best pricing. Essentially, those are the three biggest things that our system automatically does whenever they find a mover best fit for each individual move. And by doing that, and we do it systematically, like SaaS, then we eliminate the need for the brokers who had the model of the old way to do it, the smile and dial way to do it. They have an office full of people that have way too much overhead, too much expenses involved. And the only way they make money is to increase pricing to the customer and decrease how much they're paying to the mover. So the bigger gap, the bigger margin they can create there, the more money they make. So it's not, everybody is working against each other in that model, and it's not sustainable. They're losing market share. The DIY industry has exploded through Pods and U-Haul and Penske, and it's even to the point where DIY is getting more expensive than moving because the high demand for DIY is pushing those prices up. So that's what we created. But then whenever we were going to go to market, we did about 18 months of research on that. It started before I left the moving company, my family moving company, and got some really, really good feedback on what customers just want. They want a systematic process, so we did that. That was already there. But they also want GPS tracking, which nobody provides. It's so crazy that you can order a toothbrush on Amazon and you can watch it go to your door. But some stranger shows up with a truck, takes all your belongings away, and you have no idea where it goes. You just hope it shows up on time at the destination. It makes perfect sense. So we have that available. Moving is also a pretty expensive endeavor. And so we have created no credit check financing. People are relocating. They're often buying or doing rental agreements. So they want their credit to stay intact. So no credit check financing is available. There's another pretty wild piece to the moving industry that even if a mover says they can guarantee your price, legally, they can charge you more money. And legally, if you don't pay that money, the mover can lock up their truck and leave with your stuff until you pay them. And they can charge you more money for the extra effort of driving to a warehouse and unloading it. And so it gets out of control pretty quickly. So we thought there's no reason to do that either. Let's just give them the price. We have the data. They're giving us data, and data is available like all over the place. So we just started pulling that data into our website, created some algorithms to determine the actual price. Say, here's your price. That's it. So we did all that. Another pretty wild thing when brokers get involved is they often sell a move to another broker who might sell it to another broker. So the customer doesn't know who to reach out to during their moving process. It's already stressful enough. So we just brought all that in-house too. And we have a team of concierge customer experience experts that just walk people through their moving process. And we've been doing it for decades, all of us on the team. So we kind of know when to reach out, when to leave people alone, when to be available. So we just try to smooth out the entire process so people don't have to worry about it. Moving is consistently one of the most stressful things people go through, and it should be exciting. There's so many opportunities whenever you move, new experiences, new things to do. So it could be so fun if people would think of it from that perspective. Unfortunately, they don't, because they're having to deal with the stress of all this stuff of people not helping them, and actually people taking advantage of them.
When you told us when you first joined the cohort about how people can hijack your stuff, I'd never heard of that before. Had you heard of that, Natanya?
No, I'd never heard of it. And the fact that it's legal.
I know.
Like, it's not something that they're doing under the
I know.
Like, it's legal.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's crazy. And they just hijack your stuff. And I love the GPS tracking. Jerad, I'm one of those people that likes to follow my packages when I order something. So I can only imagine if I was moving anywhere, even locally, that I would want to know where it is. And not having 3 different people in the middle, having one person that I know who I can call. And anytime you say concierge, you make somebody feel like they're important. So when you have a concierge moving person that's going to help you, that's impressive.
Thanks. So with all of that research, we've actually, in pulling all of that data, we've actually been able to determine who is most likely going to be moving. We can see, the top 6, there's top 6 things. I won't get too detailed into it, but if someone is going to have a new kid, if someone is losing a kid, like they're moving out, if someone gets a new job, death, divorce, those type of things that are going to happen in the future. And then you combine that with other things like when you bought a house or when your rental agreement is up, these little pieces that you start putting together, then we can actually reach out to those people directly and say, hey, even before you start looking for a mover and start the process, like, hey, here we are, and we'll just do everything for you. You don't have to worry about it. So that's been successful too. Nice.
I didn't know that you did that as well. That's cool. So tell us about some of the people you're starting to get like company contracts to handle everybody's move with inside the business. Who are some of the people that you've met with?
Yeah, we're starting to speak with some Fortune 100 companies, actually, Fortune 500 for sure. And they have been utilizing relocation management companies, which are essentially brokers. And because there's so many complexities to the moving industry, these different HR departments, procurement departments, CFOs, they feel kind of trapped. They feel like they don't have another option. It's kind of like a necessary evil that they have to use these companies. And so it's pretty interesting. I thought I was going to have to walk in the door and kind of explain, or walk on Zoom, I guess, and explain the problems in the industry and how we can help them. And I had them telling me. So whenever I talk to companies like Bloomberg, like DoorDash, Zillow, some other big financial companies, some big oil companies, when I talk to them, they tell me, I don't want to talk to you if you are a relocation management company or working with one. I don't want to talk to you if you're working with the van lines. So even though you have these big brand names like Allied and North American and Mayflower, Beacons, all these big brand names, they realize that they're in the way and they're not adding value anymore. And so I say, well, no, we're not. And I say, okay, we'll talk to you. It's the easiest, quickest conversation. So we're getting really fast traction with corporations that move employees consistently because they realize they're in it every day and they realize these problems. Whenever you talk to customers individually that are moving themselves, and they only move every 4 years on average, then they don't necessarily remember all that stuff. But an HR department, a recruiter, the talent people, CFOs, they realize it. They're dealing with it day in and day out, and it's a big expense for them. They see how easy we can make it for them, and they're kind of blown away by it. So it's been really good conversations. I've enjoyed it.
Well, it's nice to have a product that's an easy sell, that you don't have to go in because that's the whole thing, right? You need somebody to realize their pain point, that you have a solution for it. So if they've already realized their pain point, then you're halfway to the goal line there.
Yeah. And with the relocation management of moving your employees over the last, I'd say 15 years, it went from one decision maker to about 10 decision makers and all this red tape. And they get together as a company, as a group of decision makers, each corporation, and line out an entire big RFP. Then they go to market, try to figure out who they should even invite to bid on this RFP. And I have had a few companies reach out to me and say, hey, we're going to issue an RFP for relocation for our employees. Would you like to bid on it? And I say, well, I could, but that'd be like comparing an apple to a banana. Like, we changing the whole process. In fact, RFPs are kind of dead. And if you don't realize that, you're going to realize it sooner rather than later. It's going to hit you between the eyes pretty soon. And the reason they're dead, they have been dying slowly, but COVID really pushed the need for RFPs to go away. If you look, 2020, I say 2021 over 2020, the demand for on-the-spot pricing in logistics and transportation, the demand for it went up 22%. The demand for on-the-spot pricing this year, 2022 over 2021, has gone up another 21% so far. The year's not over yet. But people know that they have to have on-the-spot pricing, and it doesn't exist in most of the transportation industry. So they have to go to brokers to get that pricing. And the reason on-the-spot pricing has to exist is because there's so many variables that change the pricing for the actual service provider. And so if you're a mover and you sign a contract to an RFP that you won this big deal, good job, congratulations, but now you're stuck in a contract and your prices to run your business are so variable that you might go out and do a move for a customer and lose money. And that is not sustainable. So RFPs are dead and there's no reason for them. And there's actually no reason to do this in the entire moving industry. Why not do something like Uber has? Or why not do something like Expedia or hotels.com? Like, the service providers are there. The data is there. All the variables are there to look at. So we just fixed it. There's no need for RFPs. So once some corporations get, like DoorDash, that's their whole business model. They get it. They immediately say, oh yeah, send over a contract. Let's talk about this. Bigger corporations that live off government contracts, for example, they might not get it, or they might get it, but they don't want it to be true. But it's going that way. So
isn't that interesting? I like that contrast. They'll get it, but not want it to be true. But that doesn't change reality, does it? Right? I mean, I can stand on the scale and see the number and not like it, but that doesn't change the number on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have to face reality with that. Man, I love how you're, like you said earlier, it helps everyone in the system, how you're helping the small businesses, the small movers be able to have margin, be able to make a profit, because they're the ones that are hustling out there and they're getting scalped essentially by the brokers.
Yes, that's completely right. And since all of ours is systematic, we can give them data back and say, hey, you're charging too much, or you're not charging enough, or you think you're good at this city, but you're better at this other city. Maybe you should do more business there. Or here's a growth opportunity. Like, we can give them this data. Another really cool thing that our system does with the movers, with the service providers, is it matches their empty capacity with demand. And so, say I'm a mover out of Denver and I'm driving a customer to Chicago, I don't want to drive back empty. And that's actually one of the biggest problems in the entire transportation industry. We've heard for years that the biggest problem in the transportation industry is the lack of drivers. And I mean, there's a little bit of truth to that. The bigger truth is it's a lack of efficiency. Odds are most the big trucks you drive by on the road are not full. Most of them are actually empty, going back to their next load. And so you have brokers all over the place that are trying to fill trucks, but they're all taking money out of the middle. So it's not efficient, and it's costing the entire transportation industry. Moving industry is only 1 to 2% of that entire thing, but we help the service providers fill their empty capacity. And that right there, it brings their quality up because they can reinvest in their company and their people. And it brings their expenses down. And all of that translates over to the customer, where the customer gets to experience a better quality and the customer gets to experience a cheaper move.
Well, you've got win, 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 right? I mean, it just keeps helping everybody down the road. I mean, it's brilliant. Jerad, you're brilliant to come up with this idea. He's not even going to say anything. He's just going to smile. So, Jerad, you're part of cohort 3 with Cultivate, and we are almost wrapping up cohort 3, which is hard to believe. Natanya, we only have 2 more sessions. The 16 weeks.
Crazy.
I know.
It goes so fast.
It does go by so fast. Yesterday we had session 6, and everybody was rowdy, and it was really fun. But tell us, Jerad, what's been 1 or 2 highlights, or what has been your favorite thing, or the best connection that you've made, or what would you say to the world about Cultivate?
Well, Cultivate is a true accelerator. I think that word gets thrown around way too much. The way I understood an accelerator before was that a bunch of startups are kind of thrown into an office building together and they rub elbows. They might get a little bit of collaboration, maybe. Cultivate is extremely intentional, not only how they help companies accelerate, but the process of it, the order of it, each thing you do at each meeting, and it just builds off of each other. And then the mentors, the leadership from around the world that you guys bring in are just completely blows my mind each time. I cannot fathom the type of people that I get to sit next to and talk to. And the way I describe it to people, I had no idea. First of all, I had no idea what I was walking into.
Everybody says that.
But now that I'm been going through it, the way I describe it to people is you get to sit next to little tiny small business owners that are local, doing a little bit of business, and sit next to multi-billionaires that have been doing it for 40, 50 years, and sit next to big business leaders that you couldn't even imagine. But the reason that everybody is excited to work together and help each other is because the ultimate goal is God's kingdom. And if everybody is focused on God's kingdom, all the agendas in the middle are gone. They know all I care about is God's kingdom and bringing value to everybody, which is part of God's kingdom. You bring kingdom principles to the business world, and you know everybody around you is focused on doing that, then you want them to succeed, and you want to give them resources, and you want to open more doors for them, and you want to help them get better. It's amazing. That's what an accelerator is, but you can't say you're an accelerator because you're so much past that. It's so much bigger and better than that. I don't know what I would use instead, but accelerator is not a big enough term. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Not a big enough term. Yeah, there's a lot of girth. There's a lot of depth in the people that we bring in. Our sessions meet for 16 weeks, and we meet 8 times during those 16 weeks. But every session we bring in at least 3, sometimes up to 10 or 12 mentors from the community that are SMEs, that are subject matter experts on whatever topic we're covering. And that really is our secret sauce, because not only do our founders get to hear from them in a panel setting, get to ask them questions, but they get to have one-on-one time with them. And then they also get to have their contact information. So if you really connect with one person, you can reach out and spend more time with them. Jerad, who's been your favorite so far?
Golly. Wow. That's a very difficult question.
Give us your top 3. How about that?
Okay. I really enjoyed talking to Cynthia. She how do you say her last name?
Archinato?
Nope,
you do it, Natanya.
Archiniaco.
Oh my gosh.
Niaco, got it.
It took me like a year to know how to spell it.
We rely on Tanya. She's our resident polyglot. She speaks many languages, so we trust her for those things. But yes, Cynthia, go ahead.
Let's call her Cynthia A. Yeah, she has incredible knowledge, wisdom, experience, and she's not afraid to just call you out on it, which is fantastic. Yeah, I really enjoyed the time with David Green. It was very insightful to listen about how, I say it's just stewardship through him. That was very interesting. Wow. Yeah, there are so many impressive people. Goodness. I mean, even just your staff being with you guys each time, your knowledge and experience and just love, your passion for making this happen. It's whenever I was talking to Lance Humphreys yesterday, and I just said, thank you for what you guys do. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Well, I'm glad that it's been beneficial to you on many different levels. We believe in people, and we believe in supporting people, and whatever that looks like. That's why we bring people in. But our team spends a lot of time praying for you guys and talking about how we can help you, who we should connect you with. And like you said, it's intentional. We're very intentional with that.
So, Jerad, what do you need? What do you need from people listening? What is a call to action that people can do to help NextMuv, to help you? What's the next step?
Well, it's a good question. I really believe NextMuv has the product, the system, the process. We've brought all the solutions. Have a great team, have a lot of other people real excited to be a part of our team at some point. the one piece we're missing is recognition, brand awareness. Who are we? Why should somebody trust us in a world of untrustable companies that have proven themselves as untrustable for decades? And so who are we? So I need people to know us. I'd love for people to come try us and work with us. And I will say, like I did about the corporations, they get it because they're in it every day. They understand the problems of the moving industry. And we have been 100% whenever we talk to the decision maker. The problem is currently there are 8 to 12 decision makers in each company, and they don't want their door open because they're having to deal with these brokers for decades that they don't want to talk to. And so now I have an opportunity to give them a real solution to their problems, but they're so gun shy that I can't get the door open. So I need some open doors. Me and my team, we need open doors. And we can walk in and show them the solution and really partner with them to make their relocation process better for their employees and for them.
Okay, so if you're out there and you're getting ready to move yourself, or you own a company and you move people maybe, a couple times a year, or somebody who falls in that category, we have Jerad's information. We have NextMuv's information down in the comment section. You just reach out and he will hook you up with a move with integrity, right? That you can rely, you can know where your stuff is, you can know what your price is, and there's no guesswork in there. It's all going to be straight up front, and you won't have anything broken. Maybe one dish, right? Because we, typically one little thing gets broken, but you won't have your whole process won't be broken for sure. Jerad, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and share your story. And your kids were quiet.
Kind of.
Relatively. That's okay. That's about as much as we can expect. After 2020, nobody ran naked behind you. So this is a victory. This is a victory.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, listeners, thank you again for joining us. We are Cultivate OKC. We're all about creating a flourishing community. We are about helping people creating redemptive cultures. And if you're interested, cohort 4 is coming up, right, Natanya? When are applications going live?
Applications will open on November 1st, and you can submit an interest form either on Instagram going to our bio or on Facebook. It's all over there too, on LinkedIn as well, or visit our website, www.cultivate.city.
Yes. If you're a founder and you want to make a difference, not just make a buck, if you are post-revenue, whether you are a for-profit or nonprofit, if you're a nonprofit and you're out serving your people and you need some help, maybe with your leadership, maybe you're looking to scale, maybe you just have spent so much time trying to do business, you haven't got to focus on your business, we are here for you and we would love to help. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and catch our next episode. Thank you. We hope you were encouraged to hear about how OKC founders are creating a redemptive culture in their community. If you would like to learn more about the accelerator, go to www.cultivate.city. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We will catch you next time, and thank you for listening.